Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here with some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be looking at a series between SaSe and Liquid Rhett. And I have to apologize straight out the gate. I am so used to calling him SaSe, and I was told about a million times that it is SaSe, so I will go with that. But SaSe, it just looks like SaSe to me. I don't know what to tell you. This is going to be the first game in the series here on the map GSL Daybreak. Spawning in the upper right-hand spawn location, we have got our red Zerg player, Liquid Rhett. Rhett took third place at the IEM Season 6 Global Challenge in Sao Paulo. Also took third place at the StarCraft Invitational number 4. Down over here in the lower left-hand spawn position, our blue Protoss player, Quantix SaSe, was a semi-finalist at the G League Season 3. Also took third place at the IGN Pro League Season 4 UK qualifiers. And there you go, guys. Some recent tourney information for both these players. Right out the gate, SaSe will be coming out with that Forge Fast Expand, as you can tell here by the pylon placement right there in front of his natural expansion. Now moving up with the Probe Scout, we'll be scouting out Rhett, and let's see what he spots. Not a whole lot, huh? No extractor or pool yet. Given the fact that he is even here, this is going to pretty much force Rhett to go ahead and go pool first. Doesn't really have much of a chance to be able to get down that hatch first with the harassment from that probe. So there you have it. Pool gets dropped down first here for Rhett, and SaSe moves down to the expansion just to kind of dance around a bit. Might as well grab some minerals while he's here. You're gonna see that Overlord pull back. Just wants to spot if there were any cannon harass going on back there. As we can see, that is not the case. And the probe is just going to continue to dance around, then finally pulls on back down, and we'll be following suit. Oh no, the drone's going to completely bypass him, and with this, Rhett will be dropping his first expansion right down here in the third position. Rather than dealing with that harass, you will see Zerg players do this from time to time. The big concern with this is it's much more vulnerable, and a Protoss push from this direction with force fields early on can be pretty devastating, so we'll have to see how Rhett does deal with that if that eventually comes here from SaSe. Now SaSe did decide to go Nexus first, then dropping his Forge and the Gateway. Still no gas from him, as to be expected. Really no reason to have that gas this early on. Definitely needs to just focus on those minerals, get that first cannon up, get that Cybernex core, and then you can worry about getting some gas. We're starting to see that simulator right now, so we can start accumulating that for when the core does finish. We'll be able to start that Warp Gate research and likely a Stalker and or Sentry right away. Now SaSe moving down to check and make sure, wants to confirm that the expansion is down here, and now he knows. Alright, there's the hatch. Fully aware of what's going on. Is he going to cancel it? Yes, he does. Redrops it and then pulls back, so we'll be just trying to delay this as long as possible. Cancel the last one right before it got destroyed. We'll do the same thing here, and there you have it. Now pulling back, and Rhett will be going very, very early on with that third base here. Queen from the main making its way right on over to the second base, which is actually in the third spawn position. So from henceforth, I will call this the third, and this will be the first natural, even though it's kind of was dropped in reverse order. Probe making it back in for secondary scouting. Again, he wants to confirm that there's an expansion coming through. Now with all this information, he knows a few things. First and foremost, he knows there will not be speedlings in play for quite a long while, because there's no way that Rhett will have enough gas to be able to get that anytime soon. Back over here for SaSe, has decided to leave a little bit of space here in that frontal wall off, allowing his units to escape. Has full coverage of the wall with that first cannon there. No transition quite as of yet. Warp Gate research coming through, as well as that first sentry, and that will be actually his first unit of the game. Again, with that quick third base, SaSe knows that he doesn't really have to worry too much about that early aggression. I specifically mentioned the Zerglings, but pretty much any early aggression he doesn't really have to worry about when you see a quick third from your opponent like this. Rhett now working to saturate his third over here. Still needs to, there we go, just finishing that natural expansion, so we'll be working to saturate that as well. Does have double extractors, fully saturated on both of them, working his way very quickly up to 100 Vespene gas, which will allow him, of course, to get that metabolic boost unless he decides to go layer first, which I don't expect, and there you go. Metabolic boost is coming out. Second sentry just about finished. Another gateway getting warped in here as well. Also started the level 1 weapon upgrade, so it looks like it will be some macro-focused play early on here from both players. Won't really be expecting much aggression anytime soon. Look at that, droning up very hard. Rhett trying to make sure he does have that very strong economy going. Very wise of him as well to spread the creep right here. I mentioned earlier how pushes, when you have this quick third in this position, pushes from this direction with force fields can be very devastating. So in spreading the creep, this allows Rhett to see any aggression coming much earlier, and as such allows him to prepare. Gotta love that, absolutely. Speaking of those sentry pushes, here we go. 3 sentries and a probe moving out. The warp gate research now finished, and he'll also have a few gateways to dispose of. We'll have those 2 and these 2 in just a moment, with a robotics facility also coming on through. So he does have an opportunity here to do some damage, and we'll see what he decides to do. You can see that preemptive spine crawler coming out for Rhett to deal with that possible aggression. Metabolic boost almost finished here, also coming out with that roach warren. We do have 1 evolution chamber in play and a layer just about finished for Rhett. Again, love the fact that he spread the creep right here. Again, I'll say it once more, this is perfect to deal with the likely pressure from this position. Provides you plenty of time to be aware that it's coming and deal with it. And spotting the probe, he kills that off and then drops the attempted warping of that pylon, as SaSe was preparing that possibility of a push. It wasn't guaranteed that he was going to, but at least was opening up the avenue in case he decided it was necessary. Speedlings don't really want to engage that force because of all of the force fields that can get laid down. He may not even get anywhere close to a surround due to that, so decided not to engage there. We'll be moving down now to check the third. Nothing doing. Decides to pull back. It looks like SaSe will now in fact be dropping that. So coming out here with this third. I called him SaSe. Darn it, it's SaSe. SaSe will be dropping this third. I swear I'm going to do that multiple times. I just have this habit. I don't know what to tell you. I called him SaSe for the longest time. Robotics Bay coming through. Does have an observer coming out as well. None in play at the moment. This will be his first observer. Expect him to, of course, move out with that and get some scouting done. It looks like we have that hallucination research in play for those sentries, allowing that warp in of the warp prism. And he does not know that this is fake, so he needs to respond. Very smart there of SaSe. Obviously, we won't be seeing any warp ins because this is not a real warp prism. This is just a scouting warp prism and nothing more. Observer scout also moving out. That was pretty smart, though. I like that. I like that move by SaSe. Spire just about finished here for Rhett. Also has the Glau Reconstitution, which is that roach speed upgrade coming through. Observer Scout still moving out. Lings pulling forward. We have another base coming out here for Rhett. This will be base number 4. More spines also coming down here at the 3rd position. That's some preemptive defense. Lings scouting about. We'll start working down these debris. Actually, yeah, this is something that SaSe doesn't even know about, so he might be able to get this down fully. Why is he doing this? Well, when dealing with a Protoss player, of course, those force fields from the sentries are a major problem, cutting your army in half. So by opening up an avenue here, this makes it so that in the future, Rhett has an easier time of bypassing force field walls and getting up into that natural expansion. That's sort of the whole deal behind that. We do have a few hallucinated phoenixes that will be scouting out the mutas moving across the map. And this is just solely to scout and see where they're going. I don't know why the mutas aren't engaging. To drop him and stop SaSe from being able to see exactly where he is. Now engaging with the Stalkers, will be forced to push back. We've got a large force right here. Dark Shrine coming out here for SaSe. So they're throwing some DT into the mix. Also have the Blink Stalker research coming on through. Fake Phoenixes not doing any damage, but again, fully scouting where those mutas are that entire time. And that basically allowed SaSe to be fully aware of the movement of those mutas, and as a result, we can see he was able to prepare for where they were attempting to engage. More mutas coming on through. We do have a small little roach push moving in this direction. Again, all these things, because of hallucinated units, are being scouted out. Lings over there. Roach is pushing on in that direction. We'll be engaging with that cannon. We also have one muta moving up into the main. Here come these speedlings again. He opened up that avenue to allow his units to try to get in. I don't know how good that is doing for him, though. We do still have that full force field wall. Was able to get up a few units there and do a bit of damage. Still roaches trying to do some damage over there. Mutas forced back with those speedlings. And it doesn't look like that was really the most successful engagement in the world for Rhett. Observer Scout situated right over there. We have a few DT getting warped in right now. Are those going to start pushing out or what? What's the deal with that? This could, of course, also be used for Archons. That is something to keep in mind. That possibility certainly does exist. Nothing happening quite yet for him, though. And Rhett's not really moving out with any of his mutas. How many mutas does he have in play at the moment? 15. There we go. DT now finally moving out. 2 of them. There was a third. And that one's just kind of chilling right over here. So 2 DT now moving towards the 4th expansion here. The 4th base, excuse me, of Rhett. Have all these Spielings, Rocher 2, and all those mutas. And Rhett is prepared to engage at the same time. Getting hit with DT over there. Force fields, preventing those Spielings from doing too much damage. We get their Colossus raining hell on all those Lings, and the DT wreaking havoc over here. How many workers? 9 workers killed so far. SaSe also pushing out with his forces. Spielings trying to get us around right now. We're going to see a little bit of micro here from SaSe as he tries to pull back. Archon gets dropped. Spielings and mutas continue to pressure here. Going to do a lot of damage. Not going to completely wipe out SaSe's forces, but still doing some damage. DT dropped the expansion while killing off a total of 9 workers. Muta's still doing what they can. A little bit too many stalkers right now for him to deal with, and that is going to force him back. Actually taking some pretty hefty losses. Lost a lot of mutas there. It's pretty rough for Rhett. Lost a few workers and his expansion over there. And I don't know that that engagement went that well for him. Taking a look at the resources lost, you can see Rhett is quite far behind right now. So he's going to have to try to work his way back in the game. Lots of Overlords in a vulnerable position here in the center of the map. Oh, that is terrible. Rhett will be losing these 2 Overlords for no good reason. I mean, he is getting some scouting information, but he could have just as well done that with a Speedling. Speaking of which, Speedling gets dropped as SaSe moves his way across the map. DT now pulling on back, grabbing the tower there, and one situated over here to see any Speedling bypass pushes if they were to come in that direction. Another Overlord gets dropped. Rhett needs to deal with this. We'll be dropping a couple expansion over here, trying to engage the forces. Not going so well for him. Another engagement that really did not work out for Rhett at all. And SaSe is in a very dominant position right now. Having an incredible lead right now with Rhett losing so many resources in the past few engagements. We'll be forcing a cancel. Doesn't even cancel it. Rhett takes the economic loss there without being able to cancel in time. DT and a few stalkers moving in this position. Also SaSe threatening to push right up here as well. This is a rough situation for Rhett. Rhett not having the best of games so far. Stalkers blinking forward, dropping the Muta and a few Lings. Back over here, is he going to be able to defend? Ah, yes, is able to get it. Cloak detection from that Overseer, drops the DT, allows him to save that hatchery, but I don't know. Just a small little push from SaSe. We'll be able to take that out. Very, very low health right now, even if he gets a transfuse or 2, still pretty low. Muta's now moving out for a counterattack. Stalkers blinking forward. Wow, SaSe is just all over Rhett this game. Laying the smackdown and preventing any counter-aggression from being effective. I mean, we saw that engagement over here and the attempted roach push over here, but neither of those 2 things were really that good. They didn't do that much damage at all. SaSe now with an expansion in the center of the map will be dropping a few cannons as static defense and also has the bulk of his forces over here as well. Has some decent vision. Love that zealot placement over there to see any Muta movement from that direction. We do have some attempted mutas moving up here. Now, besides a few cannons, this actually isn't all that well defended. He could do a little bit of economic damage here. We'll see how fast SaSe is able to respond. At the same time, we get a push of all those Blink Stalkers, Colossus, and a few Archons. Wow. Even kill any workers? No. Probes pulled away in time to safety. That is unbelievable. And here comes the push. SaSe now moving up here into the natural expansion. We'll be able to do a lot of damage. There we go. Muta's finally catching up to those workers, doing a bit of damage. They can do a lot of damage right there as well. Blink Stalkers, Archons, and those Colossus will be dropping this expansion very quickly. Blink Stalkers moving up into the main as well, taking care of that Roach Warren. Muta's killed off 24 workers so far this game. Some more worker kills coming from SaSe as well. Muta's continuing to try to do damage over here as he deals with this push, and with the Roaches and Banelings able to take out a lot of SaSe's forces, and I think he's actually going to be able to defend here. Almost lost the expansion, but with some reinforcements, able to mop up SaSe's forces and force him all the way back, and that is unbelievable. I thought he was just about to lose the game right there, but able to defend and force SaSe back. Let's take a look at the resources lost, shall we? Now, Rhett is still behind Not nearly as much as he was in the past, however. Starting to get his way back in the game in this counter aggression. Let's see what he can do. Roaches and Mutas taking care of the Stalkers. Able to mop them up. I want to take a quick look at upgrades. We are 2-0 as opposed to the 1-3 over here. So SaSe does have some solid upgrades, but getting a little overwhelmed right here. We'll be taking even more losses. Continuing to lose workers, and he will be losing this expansion as well. Rhett getting himself back in the game. What a big turning point that was in defending that attack and that Muta counterattack, dropping some workers, and then able to push all of those forces back and kill all of those workers there as well. Got a pylon coming through over here. A little bit of DT harass went through. I got a couple of DTs in that direction. Don't know that they did that much damage though. The hatchery is still up. Speedlings and Roaches now pushing towards these destructible debris. We'll be dropping this, allowing his reinforcements to hit the center of the map much quicker from all of those expansions, rather than having to completely circumvent that central position. And the Speedlings and Roaches now making their way to drop that expansion. Now we'll take a look here. Look at that army supply discrepancy. 40 as opposed to 112. That is unbelievable. Quite easily able to take out that expansion. And now SaSe is on the defensive. Rhett, being so far behind for a huge chunk of this game, has clawed his way back into it here, and now he is only a little bit behind resources lost-wise where SaSe is. Also take a look at the income here, and Rhett is ahead. Dancing back and forth with those Speedlings and Roaches. Now he's going to push forward, tries to muscle his way past that force field wall. Speedlings continuing to pursue the forces there. A little bit of a pinned position, deciding to pull back. It'd be wise of him to wait for some reinforcements at the moment. No counter Muta, no counter DT aggression or anything like that coming out from SaSe right now. Actually, take a look. He does have 2 DT in play. Quite sure where those are. There they are. So DT will now be moving out towards this expansion. We do have an Overseer, however. Roaches and Spines will prevent any DT from doing any damage. Really won't have the opportunity to get much done at all. Speedlings and Roaches continuing to push here. Now at 2-1 for upgrades. And let's take a look. We'll be trying to drop that expansion. It's going to be pretty close now. Now just going straight to try to kill off some workers. But the Overseer plus some Roaches. Nice responsiveness there by Rhett. Able to deal with that. And all of a sudden, SaSe is in a very rough position now. We take a look at the total number of workers killed. Rhett killing off 43 between that push over here plus that Muta engagement. I just can't believe Rhett just getting himself back in this game is a huge tip of the hat to him. That is unreal that he was able to do that, because he was certainly quite a bit behind in the early and middle stages of the game. Continuing to push right now, dropping the Archon. It looks like he will be redirecting his attention to this expansion right over here. And now SaSe is in just a tough position of trying to defend. I mean, you look at the discrepancy here in army size, 62 to 143. It's going to be very hard for him to be aggressive right now, being that he is so far behind army-wise where Rhett is. Rhett also has this expansion up here. Again, we have noted the economic advantage that Rhett has. And this is just a very, very tough situation. Colossus getting caught out of position, almost gets dropped, able to barely make it away. Now moving forward, dropping the Immortal. Roaches will be forced back. Again, that force field wall in these tight quarters, very hard to deal with. Something you need to be very careful about. And just more focus on aggression here. Rhett is being relentless, deciding not to let up even for a moment. I mean, he has not even saturated. There we go, finally transferring workers to the center there to get some more income flowing. He's pretty much mined out of those first 3 bases, so now we'll just be relying on these 2 mining bases. Now, we do still have some mining from SaSe over here and a little bit over here. That main pretty much completely mined out. But Rhett now almost at supply cap, with SaSe only being at 114 supply. And another expansion coming out here for Rhett as well. Well, again, I have to say, Rhett, kudos to you, my friend, because it really looked like you were going to be losing the game for quite a while. And then ever since that one engagement over here with those Banelings and Roaches, able to drop the force that SaSe had moved out with, and then hit with that counterattack, it's just wow. I don't know what else to say. But again, clearly in a dominant position right now. At this point, he is just going to continue to maintain that lead, get up this expansion, try to get that saturated. Wouldn't hurt for him to come out with some upgrades. We also see that Hydra Den now just finishing, so he's going to be pumping out a few Hydras as well. Don't even know where that is. Guess it doesn't matter that much, does it? 2 more Colossus coming out here for SaSe. Doesn't matter. It's going to help, but he is still quite a bit behind. Small group of roaches pushing up over in this direction. We're trying to drop one of those warp gates. Transfer workers. We do have those Hydras coming out, as well as those group spines. That is that range upgrade for the Hydralisk. Try to find that. I don't know where the heck that is. There it is. Wow, really? Hydra Den in the center of the map. That is not something you see every day. That's definitely not an optimal position to place that. Phoenix Scout moving out, just looking for expansions, and he will spot one as he moves right by. Almost fully saturated now expansion over here for Rhett. Preemptively dropping some spines and a spore to deal with DT or possible zealot pushes or anything like that. Also an expansion coming out here for Rhett. Rhett with total map control right now, total dominance. He has the advantage of the army size. Once more, I would like to see continuous upgrades. He does not have Hive Tech, however. So that will, of course, be delaying him here. But, I mean, again, total map control, economic control as well. This game's pretty much in the bag. Don't know, though. Crazier things have happened. As SaSe now prepares to move out with his forces. That big death ball going. Roaches pulling forward, trapped behind the force field wall. Loses a lot of roaches without doing much damage. We've got 15 corruptors in production to deal with those Colossus. Also 28 Zerglings. Expect that number to climb even higher. Blink Stalkers moving forward with the Immortals, Sentries, and Colossus will be taking out Rhett's expansion. Rhett resumes mining over here in the center of the map. And now Rhett just counterattacks. He says, you know what, fine, hit my expansion. I will counterattack and take out your only mining base. Roach is going straight for the Nexus, and he will drop it. Nexus gets dropped. The Blink Stalkers will likely be able to take out the rest of these Roaches, but now there's pretty much no mining going on for SaSe, and obviously that is a huge problem. That is a giant problem. Rhett losing all the Roaches, but SaSe now has no mining. He is supply capped. Oversupply at 152 to 148, so all of this means he cannot be making any more units. Doesn't have the income to do it, doesn't have anything, doesn't even have the supply. Remote mining here from the center of the map. Speedlings, Roaches, Hydras, and some Corruptors to deal with those Colossus. SaSe will be trying to push here towards the center. Blink Stalkers target firing down those Corruptors, but there are far too many for him to deal with. Gonna be able to take out the last of that Colossus without issue, and then just kind of chill out here. He doesn't even care that he's losing those. DT taking care of trying to hit the expansion over here. No other DT harass, it looks like. Blink Stalkers and Immortals, 2 Sentries, and an Archon. Hydras get dropped without doing any damage. It looks like, yeah, SaSe taking out the expansion. Very nice. Rhett coming out with 26 or so Speedlings and 6 more Roaches. He's got some forces over here. Some Speedlings over there. Misrallied, ends up losing those. SaSe continuing up this pressure. Now we've got a mining base over here for Rhett, and we still have mining taking place over here, so there is still an income here for Rhett. And this is allowing him, of course, to continue to produce Blink Stalkers. Moving forward, taking out a few of those drones as Rhett tries to transfer those over back to this expansion. Right now he is buying time, though, as Rhett continues to mount up his forces and try to get something that he can defend with. Only 67, though. 68 now, army supply, as opposed to the 98 of SaSe. SaSe now moves up towards Rhett's natural. Still have these forces over here. More and more Speedlings coming out. Oh my god, this is so intense. Roach counterattack moving over here, killing off just a few of the remaining workers here. And he will be dropping this expansion as well. We're going to see SaSe moving back and forth. The expansion force canceled, so he gets 300 of those resources back. So he's going to continue to resume to remote mine here. And Blink Stalkers now moving in this direction. Now again, we do have those Hydras, Roaches, and Speedlings. This is going to be enough. Speedling coming from the backside, so we'll be preparing to flank. There we go. Here comes the engagement. Nice force field placement there. Now we got plenty of energy left here for SaSe, so he has got some nice force field. Oh my gosh, the force field walls. How frustrating for Rhett. Rhett losing that hatch. That was a macro hatch. We'll be losing this hatchery as well. few more roaches coming on through. Pushing forward with these speedlings and hydras. A couple roaches still in production. Speedlings doing some damage as they're able to get really close. Now the sentries are getting pretty low on energy. More roaches and hydras coming forward. Blink stalkers dropping the roach, continuing to push forward and force these hydras back. Still have mining from these two bases. It isn't much, but it's better than nothing. And again, Rhett's got really the only economy going right now. Speedlings, Immortals, and Sentries now moving forward. Hydra's going to do as much damage as they can. Rhett loses the rest of his forces and calls the GG. Unbelievable game here between SaSe and Rhett. Incredibly entertaining game number 1 here between SaSe and Rhett. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Stay tuned as game number 2 will be coming in just one moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.